Well, hello there. It's Victory Monday, and welcome to the South African Cricket Podcast. My name is Mpho. I've got Tim Delace here with me. Tim, it's Victory Monday. How's your Victory Monday going?
Fantastic. We did say last week, we said that there's a genuine chance that we thought that we could do something special. We definitely felt that we could get something out of this tour. But in the manner that it went about is quite extraordinary. But yeah, I'm honestly over the moon.
It kind of went like a little bit left of what we had thought, and we're going to talk about that. But before we do anything, we're the South African Cricket Podcast. We talk all things South African cricket, which is why we're happy today, and we'll tell you why. But before that, please follow us on SA Cricket Pod at X. Everything's in the byline there, just repeating it. Also, we're live on Apple Podcast and Spotify, so please follow us there. Also on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube for the first time, there's many of you who are watching for the first time. If you think this is something that you can go back to, please like and subscribe. Even if it's not, your subscription doesn't hurt you, right? It might change your algorithm a bit, but if you're watching this show, your algorithm's already messed up. So yeah, just like and subscribe, and you'll get South African cricket content, which is ourselves. And then lastly, if you can buy us, we do this for the love of cricket alone, but we also would love your contributions to the show. Please do buy some coffee at SA Cricket Pod. It's helped us revamp, helped us get a new, all this new stuff, and it's helped us, try to follow the Proteas around the world. And we're really, really thankful for all the contributions that have been provided. Lastly, but not least, if you want to contribute to the show or talk to us, please do email us at sacricketpod@gmail.com. We also read your comments, we respond to your comments, and we're thankful for the engagement that we've had over the past 2 weeks, especially in this last week. Tim's done a really great job at keeping the socials going. There's a lot of questions that I have for Tim, but there's some tweets there where we're like, whoo, yo. But anyway, we're going to get through all of those today and have a good time. But yeah, that's it. That's all the admin out because it's Victory Monday. They did it. We said, I'm going to just rewind. When the World Test Championship fixtures came out, we said that, it's a tougher one. I remember NASA in the UK saying, no, man, they didn't play India in India. They're going to find it tougher for 2027. A lot of Indian supporters who would also said the same thing. You didn't play us at home. Yes, our answer was, look, we played what was in front of us, and India was also in front of us, right? They also said we didn't play Australia. They said we didn't play England, but we have to beat what's in front of us. We had an Asian subcontinent. We had a subcontinental away series in this 2027 World Test Championship. We drew to Pakistan, which was amazing because you don't need a loose series here. Just keep a draw and a win. That's what you need to be moving into. Between 50 and 64, 66% of your World Test Championship points, that's where you need to be. And important for that is to win in India. A lot of people thought this was going to be a whitewash, especially with the way the day went. But what Temba Bavuma did, oh my word. What Temba Bavuma did can never be undone. First captain to win in India in 15 years. And it's like last one was Graham Smith, right? That target, the 124 target, let's go through some stats to kind of give you a sense of how important this was. This was the second lowest that India failed to chase in a defeat. The previous one was West Indies 120. Obviously, we said, last win South Africa had was in Nagpur in 2010. India are 32-2, 32 wins and 2 losses, chasing totals under 200. We added to that 2. There were 32-1 before this. We added to that 2. This was also the lowest amount of runs scored in a test win by a South African team. And yeah, just a lot of stuff. But anyway, really, really important. Let's go back to some of the key issues. I want to take you through the key issues We're going to start with the pitch and the team selections. Tim, let's start with the pitch. Remember you sat here and said, but when the fixtures came out and you were like, it'll be interesting to see what India does with Jasprit Bumrah and the type of pitches they give him. And so throughout the week, last week, it was like, ooh, seamer friendly. They did let Nitish Reddy go, but they still had Akashdeep. And you thought, there's something in it for the seamers. There was something in it for everyone, Tim. The way that pitch deteriorated is, look, Indian pitches deteriorate. This one was something else. It was on steroids. And it's not a great advert for Test cricket, but I'm not. So there's two things about this. Yes, we want longer games. I get it. But on the other side, I sit there going, actually, I don't think it's a pitcher's fault. I think it's world cricket lacks middle order batters who can adapt to every situation. When the conditions aren't in your favor, teams tend to capitulate, and you see this right in the middle orders, and no one is willing to kind of stick it out and look for singles and twos and all of that. And for me, yes, the pitch was horrible, but I'm looking at this going, you're going to see a lot of these, especially in places where the pitches will never be flat, i.e. South Africa, potentially India, unless if they can produce a flat pitch, which they've done that before. Right, and the spinners over time just break you apart, and I look at that and I'm like, yeah, the moment it starts getting a little bit extra bounce, inconsistent bounce, a little bit of turn, batsmen generally don't want to be there. This pitch was one of those, and I think we're going to see more of those. But Tim, what are your thoughts on this pitch? And also just like, because I kind of felt like, look, guys, the pitch is bad. Second innings, apply yourselves. And nobody wanted to.
I think two things can be right in this instance, and yet they seem opposite. So for me, this was a poor pitch, and the ICC should say so. I've noted they have not said anything as of yet. To have this amount of inconsistent bounce, once South Africa had scored that 57 without loss, the moment we lost that first wicket, the pitch became poor. That first hour, it was absolutely fine. But apart from that first hour, if you're getting that inconsistent bounce on a length, on a good length, your balls are shooting up into batsmen's ribs and gloves and upper thighs, that prodigious bounce, and then you're getting the pitches in exactly the same place, virtually going along the batsman's shoelaces. That's not good. That was on day one. That was post lunch on day one. This cannot be called a good pitch. I'm sorry. While I don't think the spin was prodigious, it spun more in that for 2015, 2016. It spun a lot more, but the amount of turn early on in this test match is not what you want. You want the turn that we saw on day one happening day 3, day 4, day 5. That's what would be a typical Indian wicket. So I think whoever got it wrong, whether it was the BCCI, the groundsman, this is not a good pitch. I don't think you can sit there and say this is a good pitch. At the same time, we are seeing a different change in batters' techniques, which you rightly point out. You're not seeing people play the way that Temper Performer and Washington Sundar in both innings did for India. Where
KL Rahul in that first innings, you got to give him props. Like he struggled, but it's funny. I think he struggles away from at home on the flatter decks. When it becomes a little bit spicier, England with the swing, South Africa with the extra bounce, he actually applies himself, and he applied himself on this wicket really well.
Yeah. I must say, I didn't know, because I don't watch Ranji Trophy. I didn't know that Washington in particular had literally battered 1-6 in the Ranji Trophy, which is the domestic competition in India. So for me to see him batting at 3 and in the right way that he did was incredibly impressive. So we are seeing less of that. We are seeing less of Hashim Amla, Jonathan Trott, the way that Washington Sundar were about getting the bowler to bowl to you. And then when the bowler bowls to you then are able to manipulate the strike, absorb the pressure, and just rotate to it over. And then you then eventually, by the time they faced 50 balls, I won't say it became easy, but it became easier. They became a lot more confident in the way they went about their innings.
Yes, you kind of need to get to a point. You kind of need to get to a point on the pitch where you kind of get into a rhythm, and you understand the pace of the pitch, and the two-pace nature of it comes with it. But it's largely the spin, right? Being able to play the spin, being able to understand the nuances. And I think in modern day cricket, because of the shorter formats of the game, it's tough for you to kind of get into that rhythm. But in Test match cricket, that's what it was. And Mpho was in a groove. Mpho's not out at 50. At 50, what was it? It's 50.
55.
55. Largely because he, took time, got himself in. There were only 2 batters in this Test match who actually faced 100 balls. It was KL Rahul and it was Mpho, and it showed, right? Yes, there'll always be a ball with your name on it. Yes, obviously decisions can go your way, but the batter that we are talking about, right? The nudger, the nerdler, everyone loved Dean Elgar because Dean never wanted boundaries. He would look for singles and get to the other end. It was that. And I felt that India could not transfer the pressure onto South Africa enough. South Africa as well couldn't transfer the pressure back onto India once those wickets started falling. And it kind of felt like everyone wanted to hit out and move fielders around instead of just, it's fine, you can set your fields. I'm not going over the top. I'm just looking square of the wicket, trying to find a single here and there. And that's what it was. Jadeja got there. And we're going to talk about that when we get to actually talking about, how this game turned. Tim, selection. You wake up and you're told that Kagiso Rabada is not going to play. You also, on the other end, see that India have selected 4 spinners. Before we even find out that, Washington Sundar is some sort of like a batter. What is it? What would you call it? It's like he in his alternative career. In his alternative career, he's actually like a seen as a batter, and he bats all 6, 1 to 6. He's like the eternal batter, right? You're seeing 4 spinners. You're seeing 2 spinners, 3 seamers. Obviously, Kagiso's out, so the Vian conversation comes in. Develt's the one who sits out. At that point in time, what are your thoughts? Because I sat there going, "Oh, it's going to be hard to win. I don't think we're going to win this."
I have to say, this was the sort of final frontier for KG, in my opinion, to finally put himself on the pedestal of all-time greats, because his Indian record isn't all that special. So from that point of view, it was a disappointment. From a team point of view, it was a doubly disappointment, because he is the leader of this attack. Whether we play in Asia or whether we play at home, he leads from the front. He gets wickets early on. And what we need in India is you need early wickets. If you don't get early wickets, allow them to get in, it becomes a hell of a lot more difficult. So I'm with you. I actually thought India over-egged it, but I thought they've over-egged it with the 4 spinners, but they're still going to win, because we don't have KG, and that's going to be crucial.
And they've got Bumrah, right? And to a certain extent, I think that was my thought. I was like, ooh, they've got Bumrah. We don't have KG. Look, you can fight me on this. Bumrah and KG are 1 and 2. Whichever way you want to slice or dice it, in terms of bowling in world cricket, 1 and 2, right? Yes, you can tell me about Pat if you're Australian. You can tell me about. Don't even talk to me if you're English. Like, sorry. Even if you're from New Zealand, like, what are you going to tell me? It's KG and Bumrah, right? And so we've lost. And it was in the press conference. Shukri's like, he's our best player. Outside of KG, everyone else is just contributing.
Good.
KG is, KG is the star of this team. And so it was horrible. Like, even watching him, and I'm like, guys, he's carrying drinks. Surely he can bowl, To a point where I was like, maybe we need a concussion sub, because let's go to the key moments and we'll just, So day one, key moment, that opening partnership was actually quite important. They laid a foundation, and to a certain extent, yes, Rick's form is not where it is, but without it, I don't think we win this game. And you'll forget about it. But day one, like, they were that hour. And the thing about this pitch, right, was that in the mornings it played well. It kind of was docile in the morning. The moment it turned to like lunchtime, started doing things. But either way, we let them in. And my frustration with all of this, especially, Rick's got a perler. I'm not going to complain. Bumrah's balls to Rickleton and to Uprada Tony. Wow. But that's world class. You know that you're going to get one that on any pitch that's out. Right. So I was okay with that and all of that. But I kind of felt that the other wickets, if you go down, Vian's one was, I wasn't sure about that. I don't know. I'm really worried about Vian's ability to play spin. So too Aiden and that sweep, but that second inning stuff. Calvarena, like, it was Tony, it was Tony, and it was Ryan's wickets. Outside of that, I kind of felt like they were very soft. Did you have that opinion in that first innings where you're sitting there going, it's 159, we're 50 runs short, because I kind of feel like you guys gave it to them. Temba also gave his wicket away in that innings.
I think what happens in India, and it happens all the time, you get into these situations, you get to 57 without loss, and you start thinking, right, okay, this is obviously not a 300 wicket. I think they would have conceded this is not 300. This is a 225. This is if we get to 225, very happy. Thank you very much. We'll take that every day of the week. I think they got a bit ahead of themselves. I think they relaxed. They saw the opening partnership and they thought, this is not that difficult. This is all right. This is okay. And then the ball started to do stuff. So the dismissals in themselves, I would agree, but I do think outside of the dismissals, you saw pearlers. So guys were going, well, I'm going to get out anyway. So I'm going to play a horrible lap sweep from Aiden. I don't know what that was. I'm going to play the reverse sweep from Mulder. If you play the reverse sweep, you've got to hit it. You can't miss Indian spinners in India. They bowl wicket to wicket. So if you were going to do reverse sweeps, you have to hit the ball. I don't care how you hit it. I don't care if you get your glove on it. You have to hit it. So
no, it's just let's actually make a rule, right? If you're going to do anything unorthodox, right, make sure you get some bat on it, right? Even this thing of coming down the wicket and missing the ball, you can't. Like, you're going to get stumped. You just can't. Heck, block the ball. But, don't. But anyway, but some of the analysis, obviously, I think guys they were wanting to impose themselves on India, similar to the way we are speaking about in Pakistan, where you kind of felt that, and you said this, that the way to play spin is to be extra aggressive to spin, right? And for South Africans, this team, Stubbs, Mulder, Markram's now sweeping. It's about that reverse sweep. It's that ability to be able to access parts of the ground they don't want you to access, right? You've got leg side packed, and you're like, I can get out of here on the other side, because they're not giving you any room to cut the ball or to push the ball onto the offside. So I get it. I'd like to see less of it. I'd like to see you get to the pitch of the ball or wait for the ball and try look for singles in and around. If you're afraid of the fielders around you, then try get to the pitch of the ball and look for singles, right? The other way is, when you get to the pitch of the ball, hit it as hard as possible to move the guys in front of you out. That's what Temba did, right? Temba would move the guys around him to the point where they didn't want anyone around. If you were anyone else but Temba, you had an entire situation. But anyway, that first innings was bad. Horrible, horrible, horrible. One of the worst I've ever seen. But then again, I look at this team and World Test Championship final, they started badly. Test series to India 2 years ago in the World Test, that first day against Centurion, KL who scored 100. They filled their boots, right? Every time we play a test series, we start Pakistan. It was just excuse me, guys, what is going on, right? But I said it in our little cricket WhatsApp group of cricketing fans that we have. This team does their best work in day 2. And boy, did they do their best work. Without Kagiso, to bowl India out for 189 is a feat that this bowling attack can hold forever, right? Keshav, Simon, Corbin, Vian, who bowled 5 overs, didn't get a wicket. Marco was sensational. Marco in this game was sensational. He stepped up. He wasn't anxiety-filled Marco that we saw at the T20 World Cup final. He wasn't anxiety-filled Marco we see in tough moments. And this was a tough moment. But the old adage is true, Tim. The bowlers will always pull South Africa out. And in this game, it was all about the bowlers. That's the reason why Simon Harmer was man of the match. But Marco Jansen in that first innings was really good, but it was Simon Harmer. The story was about Simon Harmer. Kesh didn't have his best stuff, but Simon came 4 for 30, 1.95. He was just unplayable as an off spinner. Tim, you've been listening to the guy who called himself the greatest spinner of the last decade. How good was it to watch him play, to bowl like that?
It was wonderful. It really, really was, because when he first came back into the side on that tour of England, and let's be honest, he wasn't at his best. I felt pressure. I felt the pressure that he was feeling. I got all these wickets in England, and now back at the national side, I've got to get wickets. So to come back from that, and again, sort of back from the wilderness, I don't think most people were going to have him on this tour. He bowled beautifully. His changes in pace, they hadn't a clue. So when he bowled the faster one, they never picked the faster one. Never picked it.
Oh yeah, that one that was always the full one that got LBWs.
Yes. Yeah, with a slightly lower arm trajectory. They just
the one that was hitting everyone on their toes.
Yeah, that's the one.
That was amazing. I love that.
That he had them on a shoestring. Let's be honest. He had them on a shoestring. They hadn't a clue. They tried different things. They didn't really even. They tried different things, but they didn't really try to attack him. When Maharaj came on, they attacked Maharaj right from the get-go. That was a very conscious effort. But I'm delighted for Simon. I hope he continues for the second test match, but he bowled beautifully, absolutely beautifully. I would say his best test match for South Africa, and he only had about 13 or 14 But still, this was his best test match with the ball
by far. By
far. Yeah.
But yeah, we can't leave without, obviously we've spoken about the Spurs. That 8 for 51 from Simon was just unbelievable. The wickets of punt in the second innings, that the one that touched the toe, the caught and ball from punt, Jadeja's toe, little LBW, Kuldeep Yadav's LBW was thing dreams were made of. Like, to get through that gate and back pad. You're like, what? Come on, Simon. Yeah, but the quicks came through. Marco suppressing Jaiswal up front and getting the first 3 wickets in that first innings kind of like set the tone for the rest of the innings, right? In the second innings, right? It went Janssen, you're like, yes. You're like, Marco, yes. And you kind of felt that he led the bowling attack. He was the leader of the attack, right? Especially in the situation where Kesh was there, but he couldn't find that perfect length, right? He found the line. It was just that length. It was either too short or too full. But yeah, look, Marco and Corbin came through today in that game like nobody's business. The wicket of Rishabh Pant in the first innings by Corbin was something I wasn't expecting, but it's a type of attitude that he had, and he did really, really well there.
I just want to touch on Marco just briefly.
Yes,
it must be really tough to face Marco, because we did see all of the bag of tricks in this test match. We saw the balls down the leg side. We saw the balls way over the batsman's head where they didn't have any chance of hitting it. We saw the wides on the off stump. I think he even bowled a wide on the off stump.
Yeah.
So when you have that with Marco, you don't know where that pearl is coming. That pearl is going to come. And it becomes very, very challenging to face. When he bowled those pearlers, they were unplayable, and he was unplayable. But it doesn't happen on a consistent basis.
No, it doesn't. He doesn't. Speaking about other things, let's talk about the kettle of fish, and then we'll go through the other smaller key moments. Temba Bavuma leading from the front, 55 not out, coming in on day 3 when this team needed somebody, and he put his hand up and he did it really well, batted really well with the tail, kind of proving what we were saying, right? Temba is a modern batter. I'm not going to say he's not a modern batter. Temba has, yes, he can't be as aggressive as the other guy, but what he brings to any side is the ability to value your wicket, one, and to frustrate the bowlers into bowling where you need him to bowl. He's a short man. You saw the whole situation where they were calling him all sorts of things about his height, and we hope the ICC sanctions certain people, maybe a certain Bumrah, but it doesn't faze him. And when this team's in trouble, Temba steps up. And it's a type of character, like we call this team Shukri's character monsters for a reason. And he leads as his character monster, the lead one. Temba is close to being the most valuable player in this team more than anybody. To the point where I'm sitting there going, if he was fit for that first game against Pakistan, do we lose it? Right? And that's the type of value that Temba brings into this team. Everyone else is comfortable with Temba at the helm. They don't panic. You only panic when Temba's out. But what he showed us in that 55 is what he's shown us for the last 11 years. The ability to be able to bat when times are hard. The ability to rotate the strike when times are hard. Don't ask Temba to be greedy and go from 300, take a score from 305. He's not going to do that. It's not his game. But he can give you 50, 60, 100, 150 runs when you really, really need them. And this time, the partnerships he was a part of were just so important in that second innings that for me, that 55 not out and the captaincy to manage the bowling in such a way to bowl India out for 93, that should have been man of the match. They love him. This team knows who their leader is. They respect their leader and they trust him. And every decision he made turned to gold. A la Aiden Markram. We're all sitting there going, actually, Simon's doing some things. Keshav isn't. Who can bowl right arm off spin? And I was like, yeah, man, I hate to say this, but hey, Aiden, yo. Then he gave the ball to Aiden. I'm like, Timber, please, we don't have a lot of runs. And two overs in, Aiden takes a wicket. That's the type of stuff. Even the whole Keshav BMT moment. Who else was he going to go to? Yes, it looked horrible. Left armer versus a left arm spinner. And then even Kesh, dude, stop the slog sweep. This will come around the wicket. Don't go over. He went over. And then we started seeing 4s and 6s and 4s. And we're all sitting here going, oh, it's over now. It's over now. But he trusted Kesh. And Kesh came through. The final 2 wickets that went through. Those decisions are so crucial and so risky. And to a certain extent, I don't know if there's anybody else in the South African team that can make decisions like that. And we've seen Aiden. And Aiden's a decent captain. He's a good captain. But what we're seeing from Timber being undefeated as a captain tells you a lot in the most immense moments of pressure. It happened at Lord's. He stuck it out with Aiden, right? The Kagiso spell at Lord's where we didn't know where we were going to buy a wicket and then KG comes through, right? He just knows what he needs to do, how he managed guys, like how he's managed Lungi, and even Corbin, right? Whenever he looked to a bowler, it worked. Fielding positions were working. And I can't heap any more praise onto Timber than anything else. You said, Tim, in the last show that he's immensely valuable to this team, and it's showing.
I cannot agree with a single word you said. He is so important to this team. We don't win a World Test Championship final without him. That's just a fact. His input in this Test match was absolutely crucial. The way he shielded those partnerships in the second innings, not just the fact that he went about his innings, the way he shielded those partnerships, the way that he took responsibility, but at the same time allowed Corbin to play his natural game. He did not say to Corbin to stay there. If he had done that, we would have been 30 or 40 short. He said to Corbin, no, go out and play your game. Your game is to score runs, and that partnership in itself was absolutely crucial in the context of the game. His leadership is superb. It was only one moment where I think he got it wrong, and no, it was not the Maharaj moment bringing him back.
Tell me, Tim.
It was post-lunch. Post-lunch, India were 3 down. Harmer's got them on a string.
Oh, yeah. And Mark was bowling well.
And he doesn't bowl Harmer. I was very, very confused.
Tim, you got to manage the senior players. You got to manage the egos. Keshav hadn't bowled before then. We went with the off spinner because India's got the entire nation of India is left-handed. I don't understand whatever happened to right-handed batters. What's going on? That entire batting line is left. I'm like, another one. Come on. And so, yeah, but you also had to give Kesh an opportunity. And I kind of also think they wanted to nullify Keshav with the left-handers, right? Because Sai Sudarshan's a right-hander. I thought Sai was going to play, right? And so I was just sitting there going, this is weird. Sundar instead of Sudarshan, Dhruv Jurel coming in. And I'm like, okay. But anyway, and Keshav did struggle, but I think he had to see what Keshav had. Because the thing about it, about that makes it hard is if your opening bowlers are starting to take wickets and you don't have a lot of runs to play with. Yes, everyone says just play with the hot hand. But they were never going to take 10 wickets amongst themselves. And so you needed to figure out who was going to partner Simon on the other end. And the best way was post-lunch, trying to see if you can't sneak one. There's still tense. Kesh could do something and give them. You had to give them a go somewhere, right? And you
No,
have
no,
to give
no,
them. Yeah.
Cash was going to bowl. I'm not disputing that. Cash was definitely going to bowl. I just didn't want it to happen right from the get-go after lunch. Even if Simon was going to bowl 3 overs and then bring Cash in, it just said to me, you've taken off the pressure and you've transferred it back into India's side. But I mean, that's a small thing. But the other small thing is to talk about Temba's influence. Whenever we did something good, crowd was silent. When Temba made that 50, there were people clapping. People got off their seats, they stood and they clapped.
How many innings of Temba's 20 plus odd, 20 odd 50s that he's had that are like that are close to 50? That are not close to 50, but more than 50. That are like you would say 100s. There's a lot of those.
Yeah.
He's got 26 50s. And there's a lot. And I've got like 5 already in my head. There's that one where he actually scored 96, not up because bloody Morkel against Australia. Like Morne, dude. But this is one of those. And I think if you look at that 26 and 10, like close to half of those were tough conditions. You showed that you were the better batter, the best batter in those conditions, and whatever runs you put up there were just as good as a century. It's just that you never got them because you ran out of wickets, or B, the pitch you got a perler that had, and there were a few of those, right? And I think half of those are that. Like if you ever talk about significant runs, it's him. Like it's not 100 when you're already 300 up. Right. And actually, some of his centuries, the first century against England, that one was he came in, we had a great foundation, he scored 100, and it was beautiful. And if you took the 100 away, we still win the test match, that type of vibe. But it was significant, of all significance. This one was, I think if you asked him, this is probably a top 5 knock. And the significance of it, right? Winning in India, everyone else was horrible. You had the world's best players. Everyone's talking Jaiswal. Everyone's talking Shubman Gill, and we'll talk about Shubman Gill. Everyone's talking Rishabh Pant. Everyone's talking Aiden Markram. Everyone's talking Ricks. But Tizoso, Malume came through. And but Temba, well done. Amazing. Amazing. Like, what are we going to do without you? Like, which is why my answer was, when we were speaking about what we needed to do with Temba and his hamstrings, was forget about the ODIs. He'll play in the World Cup. He's a captain. We know him. We love him. Just let him sit. Let him play test match cricket. But anyway, let's move on to the other quick key moments. Maharaj is over. Kesh always finds a way of getting himself into the game, and I love it for him. And I knew that's what Temba was going for. That partnership was, Akshar was going to do something, and he knew, and he needed something different. And he threw the ball to the guy who, yes, I think Simon's going to fight him for Player of the Year next year. But Keshav, that over took me so many places. I was like, oh, snap, we're about to lose this game, and it's going to be on you. To the point of, oh, yeah, no, it's Kesh. It was a very expensive gamble by Temba, but it worked. And, your emotions there, Tim, because bro, I was about to break the TV.
I was effing in traffic at the television. I'm perfectly happy to announce that. I was going, why are you bowling so full? Why are you bowling in his arc? All he has to do is swing, and it's going to go out the ground. I was like,
and that's a small ground as well. It's not a large ground.
It was defining, because I think if he had not got a wicket in that over, I think India could get over the line. I genuinely think it was that close. Even though it was 31 runs at the end, I genuinely think the momentum was with them at that stage. And momentum in India, when it goes against you, and in a close finish like that, it's very difficult to bring it back. Very, very difficult. So I'm delighted that he got both of those wickets. That will be a confidence boost to him. But he'll know that just to he's got to find the right way to bowl in India because we look at his record in India. His record in India isn't very
Isn't
good.
great. Yeah.
It isn't very good. It's one where he does seem struggling.
Yeah.
Hopefully he will turn it around. But as you say, BMT came through vital wickets.
That last wicket. Oh, just chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Edge, catch, beautiful. Like, yeah. And Kesh, they'll never make me hate you. They'll never make me hate you. Similar to Timber. They'll never make me hate you. Aiden, that ball, that over, getting the wicket of Cinder. We needed something different. And normally it just happens that when you've got a batter who's set in and he's doing his thing, it's always the left field selection. And when you throw a ball to a guy like Aiden, you know everyone's like calming down and like they're like, ah man, it's Aiden. And man, it's Aiden got us a wicket. So Mr. Markram, that 31 you scored on day one, well done. We didn't like that shot in day two, but we did love that contribution. And that's the thing about this team, right? Stubbs contributed in the field, even though he's like, right now, we'll talk about it, but like he contributed in the field even though he didn't have a great game with the bat. Ricks was, yes, he had his moments in the field where he couldn't see the ball and that over. Oh my word, I wanted to throw him out of the stadium. But he also contributed, and that's the thing about this team is that it's never a I'm just a batter. You're doing stuff. Simon Harmer getting the wicket, that Sundar's wicket at slip, right? What the hell are you doing at slip? But he's there and he's contributing and he's doing really well, right? And even with the batting, right, they really did apply themselves. And that was one of the things that I really, really enjoyed. The one other thing is that partnership of 44, I think, between Bosch and Bavuma. Corbin, I don't know if there are any shares left in the Corbin Bosch fold on the market. But if there are, I'm buying them all. Like, no. Yes, this is what we wanted, right? I'm sorry, for 10 years, I didn't see it. But like everyone else, they also didn't see it too. But man, Corbin, like, dude, I want you to play every game for South Africa. I don't know how we're going to do that because currently, there's some tough conversation that need to happen. But Corbin, like, honestly, dude, you didn't have a great day with the great time with the ball in this test match, but the Rishabh Pant wicket was crucial. So well done there. And that 25 with Timber, that application, that was amazing. And so Corbin, yeah, look, we've never seen eye to eye, but I'm trying to buy as many shares because I'm at the point where I'm like, they can never make me hate you, especially after what's happened in Pakistan and in India. No, Corbin, well done, my man. That you are on a heater of all heaters, and I hope it continues for a very, very long time. And I hope it's not like a Cinderella story.
I know they don't give this out, but if they did, if they give out a most improved player at the CSA Awards, Corbin would win it hands down. Hands down.
Why didn't Corbin? Isn't he going to win newcomer? Who won newcomer of the year last year? Oh, he doesn't qualify for newcomer anymore because, like, it's like he got into like a weird window, right? He started playing the ODIs and we're like, man, it's just ODIs. And what he's doing in the test team, what he did in Jan was like, also Pakistan away from home, like at home, like, yeah. But what he's done away from home, unbelievable. Incredible. Like it was like literally this whole entire test match was Kagisohu. And to a certain extent, that's what I want to get to now, quickly. One last thing, Tim. Yeah, this team was amazing. Okay, let's talk about India quickly. Shubnam Gill's injury is unfortunate, and to a certain extent, a lot of people say this is why you need a substitution because he picked it up. Like they were playing left-handed. They're playing like the Springboks. Springboks with one less man are better than the Springboks with 15 men. That's the only team in the world that can play like that, right? And that's even another sport. Gill not being there doesn't take anything away from the victory. However, I would have wanted to beat them at their full strength, and I still think he would have lost his wicket and we still won. My thing is massive, massive blow for them. Not sure if he's able to play on Friday, but we'll hear the stories as they come out. What did you make of India's performance? They're not as settled as I thought from a batting perspective, which is surprising because when they left England, I thought there's something there that it can work on. Is this team the modern like they're so? If they can't bat on their own tracks, as difficult as they are, even against opposition spinners, is Indian cricket becoming more westernized?
They cannot produce raging turners because they can't bat on them.
But why? What happened to the days when they could? Where are those batters?
So the Virendra Sehwags, the Virat Kohlis, the Rahul Dravids, the VVS Laxmans, they're not there. They're just not there. I think it is partly down to modern technique, which is something KP has alluded to on social media. I think that's part of it. Look, I think Shubman Gill can. I don't think the top six can. So one person doing it isn't enough. They can win at home by producing wickets that are conducive to
scoring 500, 600.
Batting first, scoring 500, and putting the pressure on. Axar Patel, Washington Sundar, and Jadeja can bowl on wickets that spin as half as much as they did on this pitch. That they can win and they can get wickets because they do it all the time in their own domestic competitions. They don't need to get raging turners to get wickets. Jadeja doesn't need a raging turner. They don't need it.
And Bumrah doesn't need one because he can bowl on any surface. It's everyone else who's a fast bowler that isn't Bumrah that's like Mohammad Siraj in this game actually bowled really well, but the pitch kind of helped him out, right? But on the flatter wickets, you don't get that. Bearing in mind, I know he did bowl really well in England, and I thought he was probably better than Bumrah in England, even though Bumrah was playing like, not picking and choosing, but he was unavailable for some.
They're never going to be Australian flat because that's not what they are. They're going to be flat for 2 days, and then they're going to have inconsistent bounce, and then the turn's going to come in. That is the traditional Indian wicket. It is not turning square on day one after lunch. That doesn't help them. It might look like us look stupid, but it doesn't help them, as this result showed.
And they looked even more stupid than we did, because you kind of took away what the incredible talent that they had. But then my question is, how do you rate a batter? Do you rate a batter on a flat pitch, or do you rate a batter on when the pitch isn't flat? When there's a little bit of inconsistency, when there is variability here in South Africa, when there's extra bounce, right? And I don't know. Maybe you listeners and the viewers can chime in on there, because I looked at this and I was like, oh, we're picking pretty players now. We're not picking hard players, and I feel like India's gone down that route where Jaiswal has a pretty cover drive. Punt is exciting, but he's not going to give you much when it's tough. Jurel's new. I'm not going to give him much there. Who else? Shubman Gill's the only one who I'm like you. I'm like, ooh, yeah. If he got to bat properly in that second innings without injury, I think they win. Yeah, I think he's very good. But I look at Sundar, he proved, but to me, Washington Sundar reminds me of Ian Mulder. The moment I take him out of India and make him a number 3 elsewhere in the world, those deficiencies are going to come through. But the funny thing is, there was a clip someone played, I saw on Instagram, of Jeffrey Boycott calling Gautam Gambhir rubbish. Not Jeffrey Boycott, some English commentator, I forgot his name.
No, it is Boycott, and it's a long time ago, but
it's Jeffrey.
It's famous. It's famous.
The reason why was ball outside off stump, wafting edge. Yeah. And I sat there going, has this Indian team taken the character of their coach? Under Rahul Dravid, they were technicians at home. They were unplayable. Under who was it? Ravi Shastri, they were flamboyant, but the one thing they knew, they were able to play on pitches like this. They asked for pitches like this, right? And the batters they had, they were able to just technically just manage that. Kohli was a master at that. You know, it was bread and butter. Pujara was bread and butter. And to a certain extent, there's a lot of essays being written around this Indian side right now, and rightfully so, because the Indian side that I'm looking at right now, is an Indian side that actually can win away from home and win well, but can't win at home. And that's why I'm saying, I think this team is westernized. To the point where now they were trying to get the groundsman to give them a pitch that did something. And I think it was to give them a pitch that allowed Bumrah to be able to run through the South Africans. And it ended up only holding for the first morning. And so, yeah, Tim, obviously, I think Shubman Gill comes out, Pant will captain, Sudarshan might walk into the side. I think they might look for somebody else to come in.
They don't need 4 spinners. Honestly, they really don't. That was silly. That was silly.
So who do you drop? Kuldeep or Akshar?
Akshar, definitely.
Even though he didn't bowl Washington Sundar.
Akshar was incredibly ineffective with the ball. I thought he bought the wrong line. He was the one bowler bought the wrong line, the wrong length. Whenever he came on, I thought, we ain't getting out to this boy. He was just average. Yeah. If you're gonna play, I play Washington, and if you want to, you can't bat him at 3. As good as he was in the first test, he can't bat at number 3 because, as you say, he can only bat at 3 in India. That's crazy.
No, so, but and he plays
and he bowls. You know, he bowls. He's a very good bowler. He's a very, very skillful bowler.
Look, all I'm saying is this team doesn't scare me. I was scared last week when we did the preview. I'm not scared anymore. Because I thought, watching them bat in England, I was like, oh, an Indian side with a top 6 that can score 500 in English conditions. I know English conditions are flatter than ours, but they're still based. There's still moving balls and stuff, right? In India, the ball doesn't move. Once it hits the surface, it moves, right? And I thought, okay, they're going to just run through us at home. And the most important thing is winning the toss, batting first, and making them bat in the worst of the conditions. And then what we realized was actually, quite frankly, bring on Guwahati. That I don't think they're going. I think that pitch is going to be a raging turner. They don't have a lot of test matches there, so like you're going to find yourself. And based on what we saw in the Women's World Cup, I think it's just going to be spin all the way. But that's just me. Anyway, next test match, Guwahati, Tim. South African changes. What are you doing? Kagiso is fit. Who are you dropping?
It's not. I've said it last week. I don't understand being at 3. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. But Shukri said it again. He said, when we return to South Africa, he will still be a number 3. He said more than likely. So I suppose there's about a 5% chance of him not being a number 3.
Well, so the other guy he wants a number 3 can't find form. So
yeah, he's not going to drop Fian for this. He's not gonna. So I'm sorry. As well as you could make an argument that his 25 was probably the difference in the test match. I'm sorry, Corps, but we need that difference maker with Marco coming left up. We need him. So Corbin misses out. Very harsh, I know. Very harsh on Corbin.
I'm making 2 changes. Assuming it's going to be a turning track. Sen comes in for me for Vian, and Corbin comes out for Kagiso. And there's an argument, and the Vian fans will say, but what about Tristan? Quite frankly, I don't see a difference between Tristan and Vian. The only difference, I think, Vian's more on form. So, yeah, like I think Tristan.
Tony bats at 3 for you.
Yes, he has to bat at 3. There's nothing I can do about it. He has to. Like, I'm sorry, Tony, but you have to deal with the demons with the new ball. Like, I can't help you as much as I can. I think in the last test they did, and it worked. Outside of necessarily saying I persist with Vian and I drop Tristan, and then Tony still stays, and then we bring in Sen in as your third spinner, because I think if Kesh isn't going well, I still want a left arm option that can do stuff, and they're not similar enough. So that for me is the one. Devo Brevis, knowing that we're looking for to get a whitewash and win the series, I'm also likely to bring in Brevis for Stubbs if I'm dropping Vian. So ideally, what I would do, actually, let me be straight. Vian out, Tony goes to 3, Stubbs out, Brevis comes in, Corbin out, Kagiso comes in. No, that won't work because I want a third spinner. Vian out for Sen. Yes. Vian out for Sen, but Tony goes to 3, Brevis in at 5, Stubbs out for Brevis, and Corbin out for Kagiso. So 3 changes. Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah. In that, I did think about Brevis because in that innings that he made, 15 of 74, it didn't take us anywhere. It took us absolutely nowhere where we needed runs. And it might be short-lived, but Brevis will score runs. If he stays in for 20 minutes, he's going to score 30 runs, 40 runs. I was tempted, but I thought, nah, let's not. But I'm very interested to see what he does. Does he go? Because that to me, if he brings Brevis, he's going, I want to win. I want to do 2-0. If it's just the one change, he's going, I want to hold on to 1-0. But if it's 1-1, I will take it. That's the mentality.
Look, I think he should go for it. I look, you've already secured the drawn series. Just go for it. It won't hurt. And I think make the changes that will make this team work. We've seen what Rishabh Pant can do. We saw the threat that Rishabh Pant held. We need that with that boy Brevis. We need it. And as much as we're saying we need a guy to nudge and nurdle, Brevis would have what Akshar did in those 3 balls. Brevis does to you, and that's what we want. Okay, Tim. Yeah. So that brings us to the end. We just want to talk to you about some fixtures before we go. This week is a playoff week in the CSA T20 knockout. We've got, and they start tomorrow. I just want to get that for you, so we are correct. Yes. So qualifier 1 between the Knights and the Inyati. The Knights finished first. Inyati finished second. Really, really good for the Inyati, by the way. They will be playing in Bloemfontein tomorrow at 1 p.m. for the qualifier. The winner goes straight to the hosts the final. Okay, unless if the Knights make their way back, the winner will host the final. If it's the Knights, it's in Bloem. If it's Inyati, it'll be in East London. Okay, then we have an eliminator on Wednesday, so the day after that. That is at 1 p.m. as well. That's between the Garden Route Badgers against the Mpumalanga Rhinos. So well done to the Rhinos on making it to the eliminator. That one is at 1 p.m. on Wednesday. Then the second qualifier, to allow everyone to go around the world and try to figure out where they are, could either be in East London or in Bloemfontein, essentially. And that one will be between the loser of the first qualifier and the winner of the eliminator. And that's on Friday at 1 p.m. And then on Sunday at 1 p.m., the winner of the CSA T20 knockout will be announced. And then also, just in the CSA T20 challenge, just so you know, we still have an unbeaten side. Boland just keep on beating everyone. And there was a super over where we even asked ourselves if people could back twice.
There was a double super over.
Yes, it's a double super
there
over.
There was 2 super overs. It was absolutely incredible. Incredible stuff.
And so that's it. But fixtures tomorrow, the Lions take on the Dragons in Johannesburg with all this rain on Wednesday. Warriors take on Boland in Gqeberha on Wednesday night as well. Friday, it's Western Province and the Lions at Newlands. And then at Centurion, it's the Titans and Dolphins. And then on Saturday, it's the Tuskers and Boland. And to finish off the CSA T20 Challenge regular season, it's the Dolphins taking on the Lions in Durban. And then next week, we're doing qualifiers and all that. We're talking about that on Thursday, just trying to prepare you for the back end of the season, of the T20 season, and to kind of like shine a light on whoever has done well. Yeah. Unlucky to SAA for their 2 losses in the ODIs, but, it is what it is. We are busy fixing the nation over here at the side. So, we will talk about your series and how that's gone. Yes,
well, just to add, just very quickly on the T20 challenge, Northwest and Tuskers are out of finishing the top 4. Everybody else is in play. So if you finish top 4, you get semi-finals. So Northwest,
even the Lions, who have not won a game.
But I think you can still qualify.
Yes, they can.
Yeah. Just.
Yes, 14 points.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Outside of that, everyone remember, please follow us on Twitter at SA Cricket Pod. Subscribe to the South African Cricket Podcast Show on YouTube. If you're watching us now, please do subscribe. And also Apple Podcast, Spotify, same name. And then finally, please do remember to buy some coffee at buymeacoffee.com/cricket SA Cricket Pod. So for myself and Tim, till we meet again on Thursday, it's goodbye and lesale. Kakahiso.